Okay, we're live. Okay. Hi, my name is Xavier, and I'm live, and it's a live transmission. So, if that's okay with you, we're going to spend the next 20 minutes together. One thing is very important to me is the sound. Can you hear me? So, if you can hear me, please leave a comment below, and I'm going to tell you why I have a story about that. About 3 months ago, I was doing a live transmission, and I was checking and monitoring the likes and the comments, and for the first minutes and for like the first 5 minutes, I had no likes and no comments. So I was asking people, are you interested in what I'm saying, right? Would you maybe have a like or a comment or a question? And nobody was having, no like, no comment, nothing for about 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, I thought, that's odd. I mean, what I'm saying is so bad that nobody is really interested in what I'm saying, and after a while, I realized, because when I was, hearing the transmission again, that the mic was not on, so nobody was listening. So one thing I would like to do is, can you hear me? That's very important to me. So I know there's a delay, between what I'm saying and the actual transmission. So I know it's going to take between 15, 20, 30 seconds, for you to react. But if you have any comment, or if you can hear me, please leave me a message below, so I know at least something is happening. Okay, so that's the story. This is very first time I'm doing this in English. I've done it a lot of time in Spanish and in French, but this is my very first time in English. So excuse my excuse my French if my French is not good enough. I'm not sure if it's working. Can you hear me? Because I'm still looking on LinkedIn, and it's not showing anything. So I'm kind of, what's going on? Okay, so if you are listening to me and if you can see me, well, let's get on. So one of the things that I want to do is sales. So why sales? About 40 years ago, I had a company, and I had a skateboarding company, and I was selling product on my store, and at the same time, I was a distributor for a lot of different skateboarding brands in Europe. And one of the thing that I was doing, I was selling in my store. Right, when you're a distributor, it's different, right? Because people come to you, and it's not the same thing. But I just posted something about 2 or 3 hours ago about that, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But the thing is, like right now, I'm really focusing on sales, and sales is very important if you have a business, and especially what's important in sales is having momentum. So momentum is something that takes a lot of time. So there's an analogy in momentum that I really love. It's the analogy of a freight train. Oh, Jeff is telling me that it's loud and clear. Perfect. Thank you, Jeff. I know, at least I know that at least one person is listening to me. Okay, so I was talking about momentum and why is momentum is important in sale. And momentum to me is really like a freight train. It takes a lot of energy, for a freight train to start. I mean, if you have a fast car, or if you have any car, maybe you can go from 0 to 60 miles an hour, I don't know, in 15, 20 seconds, right? For a freight train, it's not the same. It's going to take probably 20 minutes for a freight train to go from 0 to 60 or 80 miles an hour. That's a lot of energy that you need. And that's the same for a business. But the thing is, and that's why the analogy with the freight train is really what I love. Once a freight train is going to 60, 80 miles an hour, you can stop the engine, really, and the freight train is going to run and run and run for at least a couple of miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, who knows, right? But at least it's gonna keep running. And that's the same for a business, right? It takes a lot of energy to start a business, but once a business is running, when you have whatever, 5 sales, 10 sales, 20 sales every day, you can like withdraw, for a couple of days, and if you have a team taking care of the business, and if you don't anything, if you don't any sales, if you don't any marketing, if you don't do anything, you still gonna have any sales, of course. By each day, if you don't do anything, the sales are going to go from 20 to 15 to 10 to 5, and then you're going to have to work again on your sales, right? But that's the idea of momentum. And momentum is something that's very important. So what I want to do, I want to give you 10 tips, 10 advice, and why momentum is very important, and what you should do to gain momentum. So I'm gonna go from the number 10, which would be the less. Uh, Let me see if I have some comments here. No comments so far. So the least important to the most important. So number 10 would be stop taking advice. And how? Let me check. I have a banner for that. So where is my banner? Stop taking advice from naysayer. Yes, because there's a lot of people out there when you start a business, or even when your business is kind of working at really not selling. So a lot of people are going to come and say, they're going to say, you know what, it's not the right moment, because you're not going to ask people, right? If you start your business, you're going to go to your friend and ask them, tell them, I'm starting that business and I'd like to know what you think, or maybe you can be my first customer, or would you be interested in my product? And people will say, no, don't do that, don't do that. It's not the right time, it's not the right moment, it's not the right investment, you don't have the money, it's not the right company, you don't have the right partner, it's not going to work for you. All the people are going to say that. They're going to say that you don't have the skills, you don't have the resources, you're not prepared to do that, you don't have the knowledge, so you don't need that advice. So if you have people that are a naysayer, and that come and say you can do it, it's not going to work for you, don't listen to them, because most people are actually jealous. They see you are trying to do something, and because they don't do it themselves, they want to do it. They have that idea that they want to start a business themselves, but for whatever reason they don't do it, and they see you doing it and starting your business and thinking, wow, how is it possible that this guy is already selling a couple of products, and I've had that idea for 6 months and I'm not able to do it? So why is it? So don't listen to them. Very important. So that was advice number 9. That was advice number 10. Now, advice number 9 is find a mentor who is 2 steps ahead from you. So a mentor is very important. But of course, if you get a mentor that knows less than what you do, then it's useless, right? Even if you get a mentor that it's just a little bit better than you, is not enough. You really need to get a mentor that get the big picture, that sees your business, that maybe has already done something similar to what you're doing, and that's telling you, okay, I know that here, you're doing the right thing, but that step is not the right step. You're not doing the right step, so you would have to really rethink everything that you're doing. So what you need to do, and even you need to get a mentor even if your business is running, right? For example, if you're doing a business and you have a 6-figure business, then you need to get someone that's who's doing seven figures, because he knows, he's ahead of you, right? He already knows the problem that you're gonna find. So this is very important. Okay, that was advice number 9. Find a mentor who is 2 steps ahead of you. So step number 8, forget about being normal. And this, I'm doing this for the product, for your promotion, for your sales, for everything, for your social media. If you're trying to do the same as the other, it's not going to work. If you are a copycat, even in the good sense of that, right? Because there's a good idea and maybe it's not totally fulfilled, and you say, well, I can do this, but I can do it better, right? I can do it maybe 5%, 10% better. Then probably people are not going to be interested in what you're doing, because let's be real. People are really interested in when something is out of the ordinary. And I've been involved in music for a very long time. Actually, I was a music director for a radio station for 7 years. And so I was directing whatever was playing on the radio station. I had to, give the green light and give the go ahead, right? And I realized that, only a couple of years ago. But because I was thinking about it, why is it that some, groups are better than the others, that we remember those group or those artists, and some other we don't remember? So I did a short list, right? We remember groups like, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, the Police, the Bee Gees, Culture Club, Tupac, Jay-Z, Drake, Billie Eilish. Wow, Billie Eilish. And I was thinking, why is it that even 60 years after, I mean, the Beatles, it was like 60 years ago, right? And still people remember the Beatles. So why is it? It's because each of them, when they came into the market, they never tried to copycat other people. They came with a new idea, with a new concept, with a new sound, with new lyrics, with a new sound, something that was really different. When the Beatles came, they offered something very different to the music industry. So before the Beatles, nothing was the same in the music industry. Same for the Beach Boys. When the Beach Boys came, they had something, the harmonics. They were like singing, like, I remember when I first in mid 60s, when I was listening to the Beach Boys, and when I was listening to Good Vibration. I thought it was, coming from outer space, because the sound, the harmony, the structure of the music was so different that it was, something very new. Same thing with the Rolling Stone. I mean, there was some kind of rock, but what they did is they married, rock and rockabilly, and rhythm and blues, and they put guitar into that. So it was a very brand new sound. Same thing with the Police in late 70s, right? So the Police, there was only three guys. Can you imagine? Only three guys, right? A rock band. But what they did is they really listened to reggae and rap roots, and they, digested, reggae and rap, and reggae and ska, and they adapted that to a white audience, and what they did is was very different, because people were saying that it was ska for white people. Whatever it was very new, and it was a sound that nobody had heard before. So same thing with the Bee Gees. So whether you like the Bee Gees or not, I mean, everybody knows about the Bee Gees because of the melody, because every song that they were, writing had some melody into it, and it's melody that you still remember even after, 50 years, 40 years, because the Bee Gees are like 40 years old, right? Same thing with Culture Club. I mean, who doesn't remember Boy George? I mean, the guy was amazing. Same thing with Tupac or Jay-Z or Drake. And in the past, 3-4 years, we got Billie Eilish. So we had a lot of, singers. They all tried to do the same thing. Then, there's a style, and then comes Billie Eilish, and she's different. Nobody is singing like Billie Eilish. Nobody. She's the best. She's the best, for the past 2 or 3 years, because she comes with a new concept, She's a minimalist, She, on her song, she has maybe one or two instruments, and maybe she has no instruments at all, because it's all about sounds, and it's something that it's very new, and it's something that's very sophisticated at the same time. So, well, Billie Eilish, for me, it's really the best singer of the moment, right? um so Yvonne is asking me, how can you stay true to your authentic self yet operate in tech or corporate America? Well, that's the thing. You have to find your way. I mean, like I say, all those bands that I just told you about, it's not they created something out of the blue, out of nothing. They just adapted something. When the Police came out, they, like I said, digested, reggae and ska roots, and they adapted. And when they came out with then first and second album, it was not reggae, it was not ska, it was something in between, and it was brand new. Billie Eilish is the same, she's coming with something. I mean, the melody is there, the song is there. I mean, Billie Eilish song is very melodic, you can sing them, but she's coming with, she has no instrument. In some of them, she just have the piano, and in some other, I mean, I'm still, wondering what kind of instrument she's playing with, a part of the piano, right? So that's one of the ideas. So what's one of the idea is, try to study what others are doing, but don't try to do exactly what others are doing, because if you copycat others, even if it's in a good sense, then it's not gonna work for you. And one thing is very important, and that's for every business, is what is it that you're doing that is different from the others? Because if I'm exactly like the others, then I'm gonna go with someone else, you know so that's very important. So that was the number 8. No, number 7 is number 7 is leverage your you. What is it? Leverage your you as soon as possible. So this has a lot to do with personal branding. So a lot of people are talking about personal branding. It is very important. I'm not going to talk about it, or I'm going to spend a lot of time about personal branding, because it would take at least 1 hour. But the personal branding is really, how do you present yourself, the way you are, your way you dress, the way you talk, the way you behave, you where you are on social media. I mean, I have a hat. I mean, of course, I have a hat because I love hats, right? I've wear a hat for the past 15 years, but I think that people recognize me, right? Because there's not a lot of people that have had on social media. So now I've been looking at thousands and thousands of profiles on LinkedIn, because I'm specialized on LinkedIn, right? So now I see much more people with a hat, but out of thousands, this might be 2 or 3, right? So because of my hat, people recognize me. Because of my accent, because I'm French and I have a French accent, either when I speak in English or in Spanish, I have a French accent. So people recognize and say, oh, yeah, I remember. That's the guy, that's the French guy. And they know that I'm French because of my accent, right? That's the French guy with the hat. So immediately they recognize me, right? So I'm different. And I'm just different because I behave and because I present myself in a different way, right? So that was number 7. Number 6 is schedule every minute of your day. So it's very important to know what you're going to do. So maybe when you start in the morning, you have to forecast, what am I going to do? I mean, I'm doing a lot of interviews on Zoom every day. So of course I have a schedule. I'm trying to schedule one interview and then one time to, like this one, right? It has been a couple of weeks since I wanted to do a live in English, because like I said, I've done a lot in Spanish, and I've done a lot of videos in English, but this is my very, very first time in English. And I was keep postponing it, tomorrow, and then tomorrow never comes. So there comes a time then you have to say, okay, let's do it, even if it's not perfect. The thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect. The thing is you have to do it, right? And even if 2 people are coming, even if 1 people is coming, even if nobody is coming, even if nobody is listening to you, you know what? It's even better if nobody is listening to you, because if your live is not that good, then you can say, okay, at least nobody listened to my bad stuff, right? So schedule every minute of your day is very important. So next thing is, forget about your purpose. So purpose is, long term. What do you want to, what do I want to be in the future? Where do I want to be in 10 years? So a lot of people say, have to, you have to do a big board with pictures, of a Maserati and a penthouse in New York, stuff like that, because that's what everybody wants to be in 10 years, right? And that's not a bad idea, but personally, I do not do it, and I don't want to do it, because what if something is happening and then I change my mind? What if I finally I don't want a Maserati or a penthouse in New York, right? I have the right to change my mind, and maybe I don't want to go and live in New York. So, and if I have, a board where everything is there, then I'm saying, okay, this is my goal. My goal, is to be able to buy a Maserati in 10 years. But so that's a false, perspective. And especially it's not going to work for you because that's long-term vision. So let's say you have a business, right? And your goal is to make $1 million in 1 year. Okay, so you divide, and about $1 million a year is gonna be about $90,000 every month. Okay, so you're starting and you say, okay, $1 million. If I want to make $1 million in 1 year, I have to do 85,000 or $90,000 every month. And you start the first month and you get $10,000 in sale, and you're like, huh? I'm never gonna do it. If I'm doing $10,000 in sale this month in January, I'm never going to do, 1 million at the end of the year. That's a false perspective because you're starting. And that's why momentum is really important, because you never start the very first month doing 80 or $90,000. You start with 10,000. And then the second month you do 20,000, and then the third month you do maybe 50,000, and then on the 12th month you do $400,000. So when you compute everything, first plus second, January plus February plus March plus blah 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 plus December, maybe you reach $1 million. But you started slow. It's like a freight train, right? When you start a freight train, you start with 1 mile an hour, then 2 miles, then 3 miles, then 30 miles. Then after maybe 20 minutes, the freight train is running at 60 or 80 miles an hour. It's not like a fast car. It takes a lot of time. To build a company takes a lot of time. You're not going to go from zero to $90,000 just like this, because nobody can do it, right? So forget about the purpose. Forget about long term. What you have to think about is this month. This month is like March. Well, it's ending in 3 days, right? So let's talk about April. You're going to start, your company today or at the beginning of April, and your goal is to do $1 million by the end of the year. So do not divide by 10. You have to understand that first month you're going to do much less, right? So, and remember that one thing is very important. So that's the destination is not what you have in mind. The journey, it's what's more important, because with the journey, let me say if I have some comment here. No more comments. So when you're into the journey, you'll learn a lot of things, and that's really what makes the difference. Okay, so that was the number 5. So number 4 is double down on what works, and don't be afraid to fail. So it's here. Don't double down on what works, and don't be afraid to fail. So I'm a marketer. I've been working in marketing for the past 15 years, and there's one thing that marketer says is you have to do A/B testing. So even if A is working, do B anyway, because maybe with A you're selling whatever 3,000 a day. Who knows, if you do it with B, you're gonna sell 4,000 or $5,000. So, and if it's not working, of course, try to do something else. If your objective is to sell 5,000 in a month, for example, and you cannot sell anything, just redo it. But failure is the best way to success, because the more you fail, then the more you know that this way is not working, this way is not working, this way is not working. And after a while, you understand that, all those 9 things that you did before, that in the future, you won't do it again, because it's not working. And once you find something that's working, of course, do it, but don't stay there and say, oh, I got my secret recipe, right? I know if I do this and this and this and this, if I say this and this and this and this, it's going to work for me. If it's working, note it down. It's a recipe. It's your recipe. But let's take it as number A, letter A in your A/B testing. So once it's working, try to do a B and try to see if the B is working better than the A. Okay, so that was number 4. Double down on what works, and don't be afraid of failure. Okay, number 3 is spend 4 hours each day on these 4 investments. So the 4th thing is knowledge. You have to learn every day. That's very important. You have to read a book. If you can't read a book, at least watch something on YouTube. There's a lot of free trainings on YouTube. So do it. There's a lot of webinar. There's a lot of live sessions on LinkedIn. Try to do something every day. You're gonna learn and you're gonna grow. The second thing is health. Try to work out. Try to do a little exercise every day. Number three is your audience. Networking is paramount. That's the most important thing. If you don't network, it's not going to work for you. You have to build your tribe. If you don't try to go to someone else's tribe, because maybe it's not going to, somebody else's tribe is not going to work for your tribe, for your product. You have to, find people that are going to be interested in your product. And maybe some other people's tribe is not going to be interested in your product, because remember, your products are different. If you do the same as the other, then it's not going to work for you. And then have some character, reflection, mediation, and know yourself. So remember that success is not only marketing, operation, and sales. They play a big part, of course, but you have to focus on knowledge, health, audience, and character. So that was for number three. Number two is develop and grow by 1% each day. So I have a story about that. So when I first came into this country, I was brand new. I had no idea what the USA was about. So I had a goal, and my goal was to do one new thing every day, just one, but and because I was brand new, there was nothing I had done before. So like, I remember the first time I went to the supermarket, it was my first time, in the US, and I was looking at all those brands, and I didn't understand what it was about. So I was like, what am I going to buy, to eat? Because I couldn't understand. And then the second day, I went to get a haircut. That was my first day. I'd never get a haircut in the US. Then I went into a bank. I mean, it was a big, first for me. Then opening a bank account, then getting my first credit card in the US. I was like, wow, that's amazing. The first time when I went to the post office and I sent something, I was like, wow, it's another first. The first time I went to the doctor, the first time I went to see a movie, the first time I was calling someone on the telephone in the US. So, of course, I've been here now for 20 years, and I'm not going to say that I've done everything, but I'm like running out of things, right? Because all of these things I already did it, right? So what I want to do now is I want to grow by 1% every day, what I've already done in the past 20 years, right? So my health, for example, try to do every day a little bit more of exercise. Like if yesterday I did 5 minutes, well, today I need to do 6 minutes, and maybe tomorrow 7 minutes, right? Relationship, like for example, if yesterday I connected with 5 people, then today I want to connect with 6 people, and maybe tomorrow my goal is to do 7 people, right? So just increase just a little bit at a time. Same thing with momentum, right? You cannot go from 0 to 100% every day. That's impossible. Plus, and that's bad news, the LinkedIn algorithm has changed. So before, you could connect with 100 people every day, and as far as I understand now, you cannot connect with more than 100 people every week. So even if you try, I haven't tried, and I don't want to try. But if you try to connect with 100 people every day, maybe LinkedIn is going to close your account. So be very careful about that. So the idea is that you have to do it little by little, like a freight train, right? And the number one tip to get momentum, and you know what, there's only one number one. So this, for me, this is the most important thing, is to practice the 80-20 production versus consumption. So I love the concept of the 80-20. It's the Pareto principle. So it says that 20% of what you're doing is going to get to 80% of your goal, but it can be used in a lot of different ways. So in that case, whatever you do in your day, you have to you have to 80% of what you're doing needs to go to something what is producing. So when you're doing something, people usually like study or read or are on the internet or do something that is not productive 80% of the time, and then only 20% of the time they do something that's productive. So what is productivity? Is like trying to contact people on social media, trying to write an article, go into Canva and do a nice graphic, do something like this, do something that's productive, and this has to be very important for you. Okay, so I see Yvonne is saying never cap yourself, right? If you can make one difference per day, you can do two or three or four. Just keep moving forward. Exactly, yes, that's exactly the idea. So that's for me the 10 tips to get momentum. Momentum. Remember that momentum is very important. Um, Momentum is very hard to get at the beginning, but once you get momentum, then you can kind of relax a little, not completely, but relax a little, and it's gonna get better for you. So thank you very much. Don't forget to put a like if you're just coming today, and I see you either on Zoom, on call, or on LinkedIn. Thank you very much, everybody, and I see you next time. Bye bye. Have a good day.